Hey everybody out there, this is Seto, and today for you guys we're going to talk about a topic that, as you can see by the title, it pretty much affects everyone, and it's a topic that I've even discussed about a little bit in the past as well. But you know, when you start getting a lot of comments about something in a lot of your deck profiles and videos, and on top of that you're thinking about maybe doing a discussion about it and talking about it in a video, well, you guess what happens next. You're gonna make a video about it, right? Like, go figure. That's pretty much straightforward there. But saying that, this is something that happens a lot around this time of year. Now you may be asking, well, why is that? Well, common trends have always been this way. And pretty much you're maybe wondering, what is those trends? This has been going on for a long time now. Well, that may be true. I would say we're living in a time where we've gone back a little bit to back when we had Dark Armed Dragon format, and we pretty much had Dark Armed Dragons be super expensive. That was a thing back in the day. Pretty much since Crush Cards happened, we've seen prices go up. This started off, like I said, to recap, off Master Rule 5 being announced in the end of 2019. That brought a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players back, made them interested in other decks they hadn't looked at in a while, because Master Rule 5 changed things. It opened up things. Pretty much compounded by that, you had Crush Card happening. A lot of extra money. Didn't know where to spend it on Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. Also, people started to make investment moves around that time, trying to invest in older Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. We saw that raise up the old school Yu-Gi-Oh prices. So it's a combination and, compacted by a lot of other things going on. It's a domino effect. One thing happens, a perfect storm, so to speak, of why we've gotten to this point where Yu-Gi-Oh prices are just starting to get absurd. But the other thing you have to keep in mind, especially around this time of year, is this time of year, Yu-Gi-Oh prices usually go up astronomically. They go above and beyond. Why in the past is that? That's because of two reasons. National season is coming around the corner, usually around this time of year. Around this time of year, we know what our Nats is going to be. Usually it's going to be in June, sometimes July, sometimes May. Usually in that season is when Nat season is going to be, to qualify for Worlds. And that's going to draw the biggest tournament pretty much for that country for the year usually. Because of that, Yu-Gi-Oh players want to have the most optimal builds of their decks that they've perfected, because they've spent time, energy, and money to get to these events. So prices go up because people are buying more Yu-Gi-Oh products. After Nationals, you see a price crash always happen because people want to sell the stuff off before reprints happen. So that's the number one reason why. The number two reason why, which some people do or do not talk about, is checks come in. Especially the U.S. I don't know about the rest of the world, but for the U.S., during that time when prices start to go up, March to April is and May as well, I will say. March, April, and May is usually because tax returns are coming in. Now, compound that with the fact that there are stimulus checks coming in, tax returns are coming in. You get this perfect storm of, there's a lot of money, where do I spend it? Oh, my hobby, Yu-Gi-Oh. You get it, right? See, it's a perfect storm. This is not abnormal that Yu-Gi-Oh prices this time of year are going astronomically crazy. It's and compounded by the fact that we just had a ban list literally a week ago. Because of that, that even compounds more to the domino effect of things just going wild right now. All right, so you have three compounding factors, compounded with the factor just overall of everything that's been going on for the last year and a half or so since Master Rule 5 pretty much got announced. So you see here, this is this perfect storm like I was just talking about. So don't think that this is abnormal. It is a little bit abnormal. The best thing I think, and I've heard some other players out there that do market watches compare this, is compare it to what Dad Return era was, when prices were just crazy. Staple card prices were crazy. Dark Armed Dragons were, what, 200, 300 a pop. Crush Card, you needed that if you wanted to do really good. So because of it, even with the reprint from Gold Series, geez almighty, I forgot about that. That was crazy too. But that era, about 2 to 3 years, was really crazy and expensive in Yu-Gi-Oh! Before reprints became more of a predominant thing. And we go through this every year. It's been this way pretty much since Zexal and the Megatins came out. But this year it's compounded by multiple different things. So don't think in mind that, people here say, oh my gosh, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is getting so expensive. Yes and no. Yes, because it's a little bit more expensive than it has been in the past. Yes. No, because this is a trend. that's happened for many years, compounded by the fact of other things happening. Now, let's talk about, do I think Yu-Gi-Oh is going to get cheaper again? I don't know if we're going to get back to the Monarch structure deck formats where you literally can pick up 3 structure decks really and pretty much play a competitive, competent deck. Just buy some Caiuses and there you go. You're on your way. So, saying that, I don't know when we're going to get back to those days. But I think Yu-Gi-Oh will get cheaper over time when things open back up more. Main reason being is, once we get out of Crush Card, whenever that may be, it will happen. It's going to happen. We just don't know when that's going to happen fully. But when we do, things will start to open up. People will go spend their money, their capital that they have, on other things besides Yu-Gi-Oh! When that happens, what are they going to have to do? They're going to have to sell their Yu-Gi-Oh! Products, the cards that they've accumulated over the last year and a half, or they're going to have to be living on the street. You tell me. Or they're going to have to, if they want to go to the movies, they want to go here, they want to go there, they're going to have to sell stuff to go do it because they can't live the same lifestyle that they've been living for the last year and a half. That's going to be a drastic change for society in general, but for Yu-Gi-Oh! Players especially too, because we've spent all this money on cardboard. I'm being honest because that's the true fact, and that's coming from somebody who used to work at a card shop and also works currently as a banker. I am being honest with you on that, guys. That is 100% a true fact right there. It's going to happen. There will be a crash. Now, the question is, I think that will be a crash when it comes to the overall price of the modern meta. All right, the modern meta. What's topping? What's current? For the nostalgia market, that's going to be a little bit harder to do. Why is that, Seto? I think it'll go down a bit, but I think it's going to be a little bit harder to recoup. Why is that, you may ask? Because the fact of the matter is pretty simple. That market is harder to replace cards. Newer cards, the modern meta is easy to replace because there are going to be reprints of certain cards that are, chase cards. That's going to happen eventually. It always does. But for older cards, Ghost Rares, Legend of Blue Eyes First Ed, Dark Magician Girl from Magician's Force, that stuff is harder to resupply. Even if we get into the GX, Black Rose Ghost Rare, Black Rose Dragon Ultimate Rare, these things are harder to replace, right? Harder to replace overall across the board because the product is not there. The second thing people have to keep in mind when it comes to freaking Yu-Gi-Oh! Prices going down overall is, and this is a perfect example of this. I think this is a perfect example. Let's talk about a card that I think is a perfect example of what I'm just about to discuss. Atlantean Dragoons, Ultimate Rare. This is a perfect example. About a year ago, let's go back 2019, right? 2019, the beginning of 2019, Atlantean's Dragoon was, I believe, around $100 or so bucks. All right? But Konami did something. If you remember, over a year ago, they did a special promotion for Christmas time, where if you brought a certain amount of goods to your local card shop, you could get old tournament packs. What did that do to Atlantean Dragoon's price overall at that time? It brought it down. It brought it down from about 110 to about 60 to 70, I remember. You know why I remember this? It's because I actually picked up one for $60. I picked up one because I wanted to at least have one in my Atlantean Mermail deck. They dropped down in price for $60 because supply was coming in. It could have been a trickle, but it was a supply nonetheless. Flash forward a couple months later, about 6-7 months later, it got brought out again. What did this do to the price overall? the supply had dwindled up, that had come in, that trickle of supply, and it went back up to like 120, 130, I think. It's ridiculous. It's something ridiculous now. It's back over 100, I know that much. Supply and demand. The second thing I want you to take away about this story here as I'm discussing this is the fact that it's a fan favorite deck. This is something else we have to discuss here. Supply and demand here is perfect. But the other thing that's perfect to discuss is favorite decks. What do you mean by this, Seto? I don't understand. If it is a fan favorite deck, your Cyber Dragons, your Dark Magician, your Red Eyes, your Blue Eyes, your... There's a load of these cards. Your freaking Harpies, your just fan favorite archetypes, your hero-based decks, right? If there's a high rarity card that's a staple in those decks, be it fan favorite decks, be it fan, old meditative competitive strategies that everybody loves, spellbooks, freaking Atlantean Mermails. There's a long list of these, right? As long as those decks are out, as long as because they're fan favorite decks, people buy these expensive cards because they know they're going to keep those decks. They're not going to sell them, so they're okay with investing money into these cards. Because the supply, instead of coming onto the market and rolling like it would with some cards, reprints happen, things, get reprinted. These cards, they want to invest in these high rarity cards because they know they're not going to get reprinted and they want to make their deck bling bling. So the supply just quickly dwindles off the market anytime because people want to pick up. A perfect example right now is Blackwing Bora. Blackwing Bora, the hollow rarity, about 8 months ago, was about $4 or $5. Now it's $14, $15. There's no more at Walmart. I haven't seen any legendary 5Ds, so there's less of them. Which means that they haven't reprinted it in a long time, which means that the supply is dwindling for a fan favorite archetype that people want to hollow out. That's why Atlantean Dragoons is a perfect example. Supply and demand it teaches you, and fan favorite deck, people are going to already bump it no matter what because they know they're going to keep the deck. So pretty much what I'm trying to say overall, guys, is don't let the hype get to you. Why are you making this video, Seto, you may be asking? I'm trying to inform you that don't listen to the hype. Look at the trends. Look at what's been going on. If you know the game, you can win the game. I'm not joking, it's the truth. If you know the trends, you can properly invest your money when you need to in what you think is going to be good and not have to waste it, aka my collection. Well, it's worth triple what I paid for everything. I'm being 100% honest. Now, that took time, compounded upon years and investing, yeah, of course. But that's how that works, guys. That's how you get good at stuff in Yughioh. Once you learn that, and I learned this about 7 years ago, about 6 years ago, about a year or two after I started this channel. Once you learn that, Yughioh becomes much more cheaper, much more easy, and much more fun. Because it becomes a game inside a game when it comes to the money market stuff. So those are just my thoughts, guys. Hopefully this video was informative, helpful, and if it was, please leave a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys next time. That's what this video was, to inform you and to not listen to the hype. But till next time, guys, take care, have fun dueling, good luck dueling, hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you guys next time. Good luck dueling to all of you. Take care, everybody.